let's get started. All right, so we'll start with Will. Just tell me who you are. Tell me how what you have for us for talking points, and then just go from there.
Okay, so I currently reside in Los Angeles right now, Chinese American, and I've been investing and developing real estate for the past around 8 years. In the meanwhile, doing some angel and VC investing on the side for tech projects, mainly tech projects. From 2018, we started getting involved with crypto and started doing investments in that. And around 2020, 2021, we realized that a bear market was forming following the SPY. So we started cutting down on our investments. We decided to find a niche in the market that needs improvement, that has low bearing fruit, for us to just change the game in the industry. And literally, we're targeting the gaming industry, and also what I know best, which is real estate development, and also real estate investing. And so we're thinking of giving gamers real rewards in the form of real back assets. There's a lot of P2Es right now in the market, but their token has no real value behind it. It's not collateralized or pegged with anything concrete. And essentially, it can go down to zero if there's no hype, there's no circulation supporting it. So what we're doing is trying to give gamers and our users real rewards. Essentially, all the token holders in our platform is a fractional owner for real back assets. And our target group is Gen Z. We're teaching kids how to start building assets one piece at a time, because we are gamers ourselves.
Right, of course. I'm a gamer too. Yeah.
Growing up, you waste a lot of time and money. I mean, I wouldn't say waste, but you spend a lot of time and money. And when the game is over, you realistically, you don't have anything else left behind besides the friends that you make and also the experience. But, we can add more onto this experience, actually more value to the gamers. And there you go. So competing with all the P2Es in the platform right now, or in the industry, we're doing something concrete. I guess in our sense, linking one of the safest investment tools or vehicles in the history of investments, which is real estate. And
that's awesome.
Go from there.
PlayEstates was created when? When did you guys actually start all of this?
So this idea was generated last year, but we were not ready. So we're doing some market research, trying to see what the competitors are. And so we saw there's blockchain companies just doing blockchain on real estate, and there's P2E platforms just doing P2E on their tokens. And what we're doing is basically linking the two industry and giving a real value to the coins they're going to be getting, and also changing how real estate investment is supposed to be, and dropping the entry level for young investors and young gamers.
Yeah, we can. It's a difficult world to explain to the everyday average Joe, right? Real estate investing is already real estate traditionally is already kind of a complicated thing, and people kind of rely on other people, professionals, to do it. So there's a majority of people that don't really understand. So it's a double-edged sword when it comes to explaining it, but also because you're explaining two different things, right? You're explaining the real estate aspect of it from a tokenization standpoint, but then from a very rudimentary standpoint, you're trying to talk about Web3 and blockchain at the exact same time. And you're just like, how do you do all of these things? How do you explain this to people? And with the small, there is a decent sized world right now of people in Web3, right? And in crypto and everything else. And it's just one of those things where, like, it's a beautiful idea, and it just requires a lot of intricate education for people. And, every time we have other meetings outside of this podcast that we talk about all the time, and we're trying to explain to people how these projects work. And some of them are in it just for the money, but most of them are in it just for the utility of the token or the project itself. And like I said, your project is one of my favorites, just because it's tied into play to earn, real estate investing. It's all wrapped into one on the blockchain. And education is key. So this is one of the reasons
That's
why
right.
we want to have these podcasts. Obviously we'll probably do Twitter spaces down the road to have a better clarity of everything, but like it's worth trying to communicate to people what this is and how beneficial it is. It really is, because I believe in your project. I really do personally. The rest of my team absolutely does. It's a great idea. There's so many other real estate projects out there that, or not so many, I wouldn't say that. There's a few other blockchain real estate companies that are not as similar to yours, but the idea of using it on a blockchain and investing, there's so many different ways. It's kind of incredible. There's no set of rules like traditional world where, you flip, you rent, you get shares of a portfolio, and, there's no DAO. It's dictated by one person or a group of people. But now it's decentralized. So now it's like the doors are blown wide open. Like anybody can pour in. You don't need thousands and thousands of dollars. You can use $10. You can use $1. You can play to earn for free. It's just an amazing world, right?
Right.
Mark, where do you come in on all this? What's your status?
Yeah, so my name's Mark Leon. I'm from Southern California, specifically the Coachella Valley. I have a background in marketing, event coordination, and also specifically gaming. I spent many years playing various sandbox type games, one of which is called EVE Online. It's a very in-depth community type of MMO sandbox game. And through the many years of that, I started learning how to build communities, niche-based communities. So I started building little, communities based around music, as well as gaming. And then continued on with event coordination. But eventually I got into HOA management and did that for a little while. Got my feet wet with real estate. And, in 2017, I got into the blockchain and cryptocurrency space. And when I learned, about the benefits and the potential of what blockchain technology could bring to the world, I was just instantly hooked on it. So I just continued researching, investing. I, started learning how to trade, and just really got very deep into the DeFi space, learning about smart contracts and how tokenomics work, and what really makes tokens and blockchains useful for people, and going through those years of 2019 and 2020, dipping into a lot of projects that really had nothing of substance, as Will was saying. The tokens they go down in value unless you have a team behind it that's continuously hyping the project and continuously coming out with new contracts to keep things going. The tokens end up just being nothing. So so I continued on that path and started getting into NFTs as well, and learning about the GameFi space. And through that, I decided to stop working in the HOA industry, because it really wasn't for me. Very inefficient industry, something that definitely can use blockchain technology to make things better for everybody, more efficient. And through that, I was looking for a company that had the utility behind it,
of course,
something tangible to real life. And with the DAOs and the NFTs and the DeFi all kind of coming together, there is a lot of potential for real world impact. And so over the last year, I've been working on various decentralized protocols and platforms, mostly of which GameFi platforms that are trying to, bring real world impacts into the space. And through that, I met Will, and he told me about the project. And being into real estate a bit, knowing the potentials of real estate and how real estate is important as an investment tool for an individual, especially. I found this project to be, something that was along the lines of my passions and what I believed in. So I, came on board as the community marketing the community, and we want to make this a fun community for everybody, and to have to game, to earn, and like Will says, we want our players to feel like they can spend time gaming and have the earning potential as like an esports, a professional esport player, for example.
Right.
And I've struggled with stopping to play games because I feel like I have nothing to show for all these years that I gamed, except for the experience with the communities that I've grown with and stuff, and those experiences are great. And through gaming, I learned a lot, and now with PlayEstates, hopefully I'll be able to play games and not feel that way anymore. Like, hey,
Right.
am I just wasting time? So then I just don't play games,
Right.
And that's
Right.
what I loved about it when I first heard about it.
Yeah, the fact of having NFTs is also something that we didn't really mention yet, but that's something that's tied into you guys, and it's just an amazing world we live in, right? I mean, everything's connected, blockchain. To piggyback on that for a second, I am a first-person kind of player, video gamer, like Call of Duty, Battlefield. I love strategy games. I play a little Rust with my brother every now and again. And puzzle games. I love puzzle games, and so a variety of games that I like as well. But the one that sticks out the most to me is like when you're playing like a first person game like Call of Duty, for instance, they design their platform around just money, right? Early on, obviously, when we used to turn on our old Xboxes and have the old sign in, you really didn't get that. You just signed into a video game and you played. But now it's getting to the point where everything's revolving around money. Like how much profits can we get? What can we flash in front of their screen that's going to get us, paid? And to your point, there's nothing really in return for the viewer or the customer or the user. It's just they think it's just entertainment, but there is availability of making money that we all could participate in and we all can actually benefit. So it's a beautiful world that we live in now with blockchain that can actually be able to do that. And you guys are a spitting image of that, let alone other projects that we also talk to as well. So it's beautiful. And
Thank you.
yeah, and when I buy a skin on any video game, I kind of want to own it, like I bought it. I don't want it to just be like, well, there goes money just in the virtual air for no reason.
Right.
No, just for this skin that can only keep on this platform. And if this game graduates into another game, I may not be able to bring that skin to the next game. So like, stupid things like that make no sense to me whatsoever. Especially now that blockchain existed. Before that, we weren't really thinking about that. But now that blockchain's here, we're like, well, now we can own things now virtually. That makes total sense. Why can't we own skins, things that we buy virtually online? I'm sure you guys probably heard by now that Nike came out with some virtual shoes that are already being sold online.
Yeah.
What a crazy world.
Right.
What a crazy world, man.
Yeah.
It's
And
nuts.
that's
It's
something
absolutely
that's
nuts.
always boggled me, because I'm that gamer, that always has like just the default skin on Call of Duty or PUBG. I've never been able to bring myself to buy a skin for that reason, because I know,
Right.
What am I going to use it for in real life? How is that
Right.
going to affect me? It doesn't make my gameplay any better. It doesn't,
Mhm.
it doesn't do anything for me. So
Yeah.
why do I need to spend the money on it? It's just aesthetics. Now, if it was a blockchain and then I could take that and own it and have it in other platforms, then that's a whole different ballpark. And
Right.
once
Right.
like maybe these bigger developers realize that, because for now there's no money in it for them,
Right.
why are they going to want to pay others to play their game? But
Exactly
you have to
right.
look at it on the flip side. They're getting our attention. Our attention is valuable, and people are starting to realize that now. So
Right.
play to earn is going to be a big thing, and it's already blowing up as we speak.
Yeah. No, I agree. Every time I think about the blockchain from a very, very Stone Age type from a Stone Age type standpoint, I'm like, you can have one person, row the boat, or you can have the whole community row the boat. Who's going to be more efficient? And that's what I think about the blockchain. Like once you're connected and everyone's working together and everyone understands what the premise of the goal that we're trying to achieve is in life itself, you know, you just want to get together and you want to make sure, like, honestly, at the end of the day, the only way to really go through life is just to support each other. Because if you didn't, and everyone lived in an isolated situation, kind of like what the internet is in general right now, you know, the internet, like, you know, 1.0 or 2.0, like, you know, staring down the details of how blockchain works. Like, I tell people all the time, like, if you want to learn about crypto or play to earn or NFTs or any of the Web3 world, you have to start with blockchain. You have to start there. You can't really jump in anywhere else. You can, it'll be a more difficult road. And but no, blockchains, if you understand and learn how that functionality works from a rudimentary standpoint, then everything else will click. So it is a beautiful world that we live in when it comes to how we work with the new technology. It's amazing. Right. But tell me more. So tell me more about. Well, actually, first let me ask you my question. So speaking of crypto, when was the first time you guys heard the word Bitcoin?
15,
off to the
15
right.
years ago.
Both your eyes were off to the right. Like, man, where did I hear that from?
Yeah, like I remember hearing about it. I would say probably around 2012, 2013.
Okay.
You know, and thinking about it and hearing all the negative news about it, there was negativities, and I just completely ignored it. That's what I remember.
For me,
Where are you,
it was freshman in college. My roommate was actually mining Bitcoin, and I used to make fun of him because I was like, the money you spend on electricity wouldn't even matter. You know, it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't pay for itself.
And then little do I know, he hit me up a couple of years ago. He got a couple of houses, a couple of cars, some Teslas. You know?
Wow.
Yeah. And for me, I actually sold for a loss. I bought it when Bitcoin was 9,000. I sold it when it was 6,000. So it happens for a reason. Yeah, I bought it.
We've all been there, man. We've all been there.
So this is a lack of conviction and a lack of due diligence on my part. So I was just going with the wave when they fell. So, you know, without any knowledge, I just got scared and pulled out. But the more I started learning about it, started doing due diligence, the more I believe this will be the future of how things should run work.
Yeah.
It's funny because at the time, like my you know, not knowing about Bitcoin, you know, I had my friends and we were very big on, you know, the Federal Reserve and what's going on with the money and the printing and, you know, everything that happened in 2008. And we were really, you know, knowledgeable about that, but we just completely overlooked Bitcoin and how that was the answer to that.
I mean,
because we didn't, like you said, we didn't look for blockchain first. We didn't look at it from the rudimentary point. Had we learned about blockchain first and then Bitcoin, it would have been a different story.
Right, because that's how I got to my own personal like aha moment. I'll tell you my quick story. I first heard about Bitcoin in like at the end of 2000. Was it the end of 2015? Right. I also ignored it. I was like, all right, well, I mean, it's just whatever. I mean, I didn't even know it was a virtual thing. I thought it was like some sort of, I don't know what it was. I just heard the name, right? And then was it 2017 was when Silk Road starting to get some heat, right? And then I think it was at the end or so of 2017, I believe, is whenever like the government started to get involved by shutting down Silk Road, was when my business mind at the time was like, wait a second here. Why is the government getting involved? So like every time a government gets involved, they know something and they got to shut it down. Something's happening, whether it is illegal or unethical. There's still something there that, to me, in my mind, has to like something's happening. So after further research, because after that, I've heard Bitcoin the word flurry around every once in a while. And finally, Bitcoin and Silk Road tied in together for me at that point in time. I think it was in 2017, like early, I think maybe. And found out about Bitcoin and what, you know, people are paying for crazy stuff, not just illegal or any crap like that, but anything at all on the Silk Road. And they're paying it with Bitcoin. I'm like, interesting. Right. So that's when the spark happened. And ever since then, it's obviously just a snowball effect of like aha moments. So, but yeah, once we connect the blockchain to Bitcoin at that point in time, I'm pretty positive. I remember distinctly having chills for like 10 straight minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm
Yes,
dead
yes,
serious. Like
exactly.
I had like hurtful chills that felt, you know, it's like internal feeling of good. Like you just like in your mind, you're like, holy shit, this makes sense. Like,
yes,
wow.
yes.
This makes total sense. Like, and then your mind just goes in like different channels. Like this can do this can do that. People
The
are this
ideas.
transparency is that. Like I just like brain overload, and I just had to like walk away and just like take a sip of a drink. I'm like,
Yep.
this is crazy, right? You know, and then obviously, you know, many years ago when we're all younger, we're all more or less greedier than we are when we're older, when we all want more humbleness and we want to help people, but you know, we're a little bit more greedy. So I'm thinking to myself, like, man, this is just the cash cow. This is like the next internet boom, and it's not even happening yet. So like, it's an exciting time, man. And it's fun to talk with people like you guys that also understand this, because you guys get that bone chilling feeling of like how good it is to be part of something that is genuinely helping people. Right. Because it does come with some, this thing comes with some caveats in the beginning, middle, but that's something that we all have to work out. I mean, it's not perfect, there's no perfect platform out there yet. There probably never will be, but the technology behind blockchain itself is it's just far more superior than what we have right now in place in any sort of place at all in the whole entire world. So that's just a good starting point. Like when you get a transparent ledger that we work with most of our blockchains, like how do you beat that? Like there's just so many things you can do with that. So let's dig in a little bit deeper in some details here. So let's talk with some viewers maybe interested in the real estate aspect, but they're not understanding with how it connects to the blockchain. So we don't have to get too much detail with the blockchain aspect of it, but let's go into like a step-by-step thing of how you see a user interacting with your platform.
Okay, perfect. So to explain that, I'm just going to go in a little bit detail on the real estate part. Same thing you said earlier, the spider sense, the tingling feeling. Exactly. When I first understood how blockchain worked, I realized that this is an industry that hasn't been evolved for dozens of years. Everything's still filed by paper, by handwriting. It's stored in a concrete storage, and the speed of just doing transactions, it goes from weeks to months, and it depends on the scale of the project. People can get involved also varies. The entry level is so high for multiple people. In US, it counts as two groups for investors. There's accredited and non-accredited. And most of the average people, they are non-accredited because I guess non-accredited means they have a net worth of under 1 million. So a lot of people are just blocked away from the real estate side of things. And like you said earlier, they have to reach out to professionals, or they think professionals, just to show them a house or just to fill out some paperwork. And in return, they get some percentages in the cut. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. It should be just a very simple transaction. The seller wants to sell, the buyer wants to buy. You know, if people have money that want to invest into this, they want to park it somewhere, they should be able to do so.
Right.
Of course, there's going to be KYC, there's some kind of regulation or registration. Granted, it's to protect users, but the process should be simple. It shouldn't be involved with, essentially only two parties should be involved, but right now industry has like 5 or 6 parties, and you need maybe banks involved, and so many middlemen. That's why we want to do this thing. And for users, for our platform, how we're changing this is that we are dropping the entry level for real estate investments, and also to educate the young folks, we're going to be start rewarding fractional ownership to the users just by engaging on the platform, to make sure they understand the concept. And I guess and also we're going to have a marketplace on the platform, where users, if they're experienced, they understand what investment in real estate is, are freely to trade those NFTs that represent a fractional ownership. And users can start, like I said earlier, they can accumulate those assets, you know, just like buying into a stock or buying into any kind of investments. You start small. $1 or $10 at a time. You accumulate those assets. And for people that don't understand investments, they just want to purely game. So we start incorporating those rewards into the gaming system to educate them. Hey, when you play games, not just only you get some coins that has a value, you can also potentially build your asset, build your wealth.
Right.
So when
Right.
you go to college, when you buy a car, you can essentially switch those or swap those into something concrete that you want to own. We're
Right.
hoping that maybe we can use our platform to give Gen Z folks, kids, when they grow up, a house. You know, they can buy their own house.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's I tell people all the time, like, real estate's one of the most crucial assets in the world. You know, some assets come and go, but real estate has been proven. I mean, it's human nature for us to live somewhere, right?
Right.
Whether it's in a cave or it's in a mansion, you need a roof over your head. You need something to protect you, your family. You need something also that, you know, draws in some sort of equity in your life. Real estate I mean, unless some sort of apocalypse happens, real estate's always going to be a necessity. It's always going to be needed. It's always going to appreciate in value. To put it in simple forms, from my personal perspective, as long as the population is growing, real estate is always going to be appreciating in value wherever you are, whether it's super slow or if it's like LA or like New York or even like here in Tampa Bay where we're growing rapidly. Like, it's going to appreciate regardless. And
simply supply and demand issue here.
Yeah,
simply
right.
Supply and demand.
And then you throw in inflation and those kind of mechanics, and it just always goes up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you know, we can get we not in this podcast obviously, but we can always just lightly touch on the fact that, you know, when you get into the political conversation and the traditional tools that the government uses, you know, the inflation lever and all that jazz, it throws in some major wrenches that, you know, if you don't know by now that, you know, there's a group or a large group of people that are just controlling the rest of the world.
Right.
You know, that's where I kind of sit on that observation. It's just hard to not believe that we don't have a say, because I'm sure if you took a personal vote on certain things that are very important in the world, and the voting was true, things would be different, you know?
Yeah.
Also another thing that a blockchain can do. So, I mean, it's just, you know, it's so many things that we can touch on and just make better in this world. And to piggyback on what you said about the middlemen, there is typically a friend in the real estate transaction world, right? There's a friend, there's you, the buyer, there's the realtor, the real estate agent, and then their company. Then there's the title company. You know, then there's and then there's the escrow, and then there's the inspector, you know, and then there's the government, whether it's local or, you know, whatever, you know, and then there's maybe finally the end buyer, you know, and maybe the end buyer is not just one buyer, maybe it's a shareholder of people, or, you know, or maybe it's a commercial. It's just like, why would you ever want to get involved with that? It's like, you know, and a lot of loops. The timing, you know, back in the day, it used to take months, several months. We have dumbed it down with technology where it takes, you know, a few months now, or maybe even a few weeks. But blockchain, I've seen real estate transactions happen in minutes, and it's just and then the cost efficiency is quite incredible. Mm-hmm. Mark, tell us about the gaming aspect in regards to the real estate in a little bit more detail. Like, give us like some key elements to what users would look forward to be doing when they're playing and earning.
So the way I see, you know, I vision the platform is, you know, kind of like like both said, you know, it's a marketplace for our NFTs, like an OpenSea or something, but also like Steam, for example. You know, it's a platform that has games, and, you know, in the beginning, we're going to focus, you know, mostly on the more simple Web3 simple games that people, you know, can spend, you know, short amounts of time playing, and more fun, maybe high score based, competitive type of games that people can, you know, they can enjoy, more relaxing enjoyment type of gaming, and then at the same time you're earning these tokens and winning these these tokens that are backed by, you know, real estate assets. So
Right.
it's I envision it like a Steam with pay to earn games where, you know, you don't have to worry about, you know, wasting your time, like, you know, like I said, you know, and that's the biggest thing that I see for this platform at this time.
Right. I want to take my skin and take it to another platform. That's all I want to do. Right.
Right,
I want
right.
to take
Use
my
on other
token
games.
and purchase something else with it. You know, I want to take my token for the real estate asset and I want to sell it to somebody else because it appreciated in value. And I want to
Mhm.
buy something else with it. Like,
Yeah, what if
it's
you
just
just like
amazing.
save all of your, you're earning you're earning income on the fractional ownership, you know, so you're, you know, you don't actually have usage rights, let's say, but let's say you save all that that earning that you're making, you know, the income that you're making, you can trade it in for a house, a real house, you know, you can
Right.
trade it in for something like fiat, you know, and then buy a house with it after, you know, you saved it all up. So that's, you know, that's one way where, you know, the barriers are getting taken down for real
Yeah.
estate investing through the gaming.
Right. Right. So, so you guys have, so you guys started this last year, for viewers who probably see this podcast like years from now. This is, so Will Market and everybody else started this PlayEstates in 2021. And it is now May 2022. Where are you guys at?
So actually, the idea was in 2021. We
Oh, okay,
officially
okay.
started, or I personally started to work on this January 1st, 2022.
Oh, okay.
And
Right. Fresh
yeah,
start.
the team, yeah,
I came on the team in April 2022.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
So it's all
So,
fresh. So it's all real
Very
yeah,
fresh.
fresh.
it's January
Yeah.
was our starting date. Yeah,
Sweet,
starting date.
sweet.
And right now we are moving beyond pre-seed right now and going
Cool.
into seed round. And after seed round, we're going to be using the capital to build our MVP. Like
Mhm.
Mark said, for MVP, it's just for us to introduce and educate users this idea that you play and earn fractional ownership. And the games we're going to choose is going to be very small. Not going to be targeting AAA, AA games because we're not gaming developers. We don't want to
Right.
compete with them. There's so
Right.
many out there right now. They do what they do best. So let's not,
Yeah.
go
Right.
in there, yeah, and kill ourselves. So
Right.
we're just gonna reach out to gaming developers that has well-known games, but it's small, 3 to 5 minutes, and short to play. It has engagement and also competitive. The way we're doing for MVP is we're going to set up simply leaderboard, set
Mhm.
up a competitive system where uh, winners from the leaderboard or from each contest will be receiving either token or fractional ownership into
Wow.
their portfolio. And throughout that MVP structure, we're going to incorporate more and more games. Hopefully, we're gonna have more MMORPG games or even
Sweet.
bigger games where we can implement our economy into the system or into the
Yeah.
content where
Right.
there's more utility for our token and there will be more sustainability for the
Mhm.
games, for the users, for the community. Yeah, so the whole point for the MVP is for us to find out what the users want. And
Right.
it's important now, especially Web3 companies before they use community to serve them.
Right.
But now everything on the blockchain space and Web3 is where the platform serves the community. That's exactly what we're trying to do. That's why we're building the early access right now to find out how we can help the users to get
Right.
their best experience. And from there. So all the games are right now just concepts, but we are talking to gaming developers for those 3 to 5 minute small games.
Right.
But if users don't like it, like we said, we're going to knock it down and then build something that users really want to make sure
Right.
that our community is sustainable and
Right.
has longevity.
Mhm.
I
There's
mean,
a lot of options out there with the gaming as well, you know, that
Yep.
especially with the NFTs, there's the NFT projects that are, you know, making small little games where you can like take your NFT and play with it in the game, and we could possibly be working with those
Yep.
developers as well to get, you know, these projects into our ecosystem, because they're going to need something to make their NFT in their game worth playing as well. So why
Right.
not why not have a token backed by real estate be part of that ecosystem?
Right.
That's another
Right.
option.
Just like we kind of spoke about earlier, it's a strong asset, and why not leverage it? You know, why not use it to our advantage? It's phenomenal ideas all around. I mean, it's a beautiful world, like I said.
Yeah.
When everyone, the buzzword nowadays is metaverse. Where do you guys sit with that conversation, and how does that play a part with PlayEstates?
Okay, I guess I'll go first.
Yeah, go for it, Will.
I see companies right now in the metaverse, they focus solely on the digital space. It's just virtual. And that goes to my saying earlier. It's not real. I mean, I get it. I know that there's a lot of potentials in it. But from my standpoint, I think the importance will be linking the Web3 world, metaverse, into the real world, how we can
Right.
potentially maximize the uses for both worlds, and also those low-bearing fruit industries such like production and real estate. These can be changed by linking the two worlds together, where
Right.
data is stored on the blockchain, and transparency is there, speed is there, cost is there. So there's so many things we can do just by linking the two worlds instead of focusing on the virtual world,
Yeah.
where there's a lot of hype right now, but we don't know how that might run out in the long run.
Of course.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I agree.
When it comes to the metaverse, it's an excellent idea. I remember being a kid and like thinking of, an alternative universe, and watching The Matrix, and then
Right.
going deep into the rabbit hole about that, But when it comes down to it, we have a beautiful planet here, and it's not dead. It's, we're not in like a nuclear apocalypse. We can still go outside and enjoy our lives. Why do we want to be connected to a headset, and live in this alternate world? I personally feel, like the augmented reality is going to be take more of a forefront than metaverse, because like the metaverses are very, there's a lot of hype and there's a lot of dilution. There's so many different ones now, and which one's going to be the one, that's going to make it. Ultimately,
Right.
there's going to be a few. That's usually how it works. But with augmented reality, people are still in the real world, but then there's these neat things that you can participate in and games as well. So that kind of ties in with the real world aspect of PlayEstates when it comes to linking real assets, to the tokens versus virtual assets.
Right.
Because me personally, I want something that's real life based, and so that's the way I see it. I just don't see the world being connected to these metaverses yet.
It's I have to step back and think about it from a humanity standpoint, and how humans just evolve in general. And I always want to personally chalk it up to like just a generational thing. Like we're around the same age, and it's just quite amazing how like the generation before us, the younger generation, how like their explanation would probably be a little bit different than yours. And then
Right.
even the generation before that, in the next few years, they're going to be like, yeah, why isn't your headset on, bro? Like, get back in the
Right.
metaverse. So like, I can
Right.
see that happening,
Yeah.
but for us, it doesn't seem that way. Just we as our generation, right? I grew up with dial-up and Roadrunner,
Yeah.
and then when I do
Yeah.
remember as a child, I didn't grow up with any internet at all. So like, it's nice. It's cool to be humbled by the fact that you look back at our generation in particular, no other generation can experience the fact of before and after internet, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Right. And we still hold to our own selves like that tangible human asset of in face or in person, or going on, seeing the real world as really what it is when you walk outside. But we also understand where the technology is going, and we understand that it does help people. So there's like a fine balance between us.
Yeah.
Whereas we get like the old timers and the generation after us, or before us, technically, I guess you could say, our fathers and grandfathers, they have no idea. Like they're just like clueless,
Right.
for the most part. And then you get the young generation who's just like head over heels, just buying crypto because it's a rave. And some of them think that it's a cool thing, and some of them think that they actually have utility there. Either way, it's one of those things where it's black and white, right?
Right.
You just got to read it, read it, understand it. I mean, it's a really good, whoever said this first, I forgot who said it first, but like, nobody knows how the internet works, right? Like majority of the world doesn't know how the internet works. What goes behind making the internet? How do you do it, right? It's the same thing with a car. Many people don't know how a car works, but here we are driving a car every single day. So it's the same thing. People have to understand that it's just something that we're evolving into, that we're learning, and it's making us better. And you just got to listen to the person next to you, like the guy who's preaching Bitcoin, the guy who's preaching, other projects in the Web3 space. You just got to, man, I'm hearing this a lot. I may have to do some research about it, and everything else. By the way, viewers, do your own research.
Absolutely.
Yeah, always and forever.
Of course.
Yeah, because don't Elon Musk, was it like 2 years ago? Elon Musk completely tanked the market in a single tweet.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really believe that happened that way, but he might have been the spark. I mean, who knows?
But don't ever listen to what they say. Watch what they do.
Listen.
He's buying.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
He's
100%. Which, by the way, on a nice fun tangent, isn't it weird? So it's funny because we're experiencing this firsthand with our influencers that we work with, right? And everybody in the influencer space, especially YouTube, oddly YouTube, but definitely Twitter, 100% Twitter. When Elon Musk finally made an open statement about potentially purchasing Twitter, I'm pretty sure it was on Twitter that he said it. It was like, it must have been like days later. And then from about, I forgot when it happened, like 3 weeks ago or so, or 2 weeks ago, ever since like the day after that he tweeted about it, our influencers have been telling us that they've been receiving more followers, their engagements are getting better, and the algorithm is not as strict as it was days before Elon Musk's tweet.
Wow.
Go figure.
Okay, that's good.
Right?
Yeah.
So it just kind of, I don't want to be I don't want to be that guy who's like thinking about like he's theorizing, some weird stuff, but like you got to look at things from black and white for a second. Like, wait a second. So why is this influencer doing the same stuff over and over and over again, is all of a sudden getting a huge influx in followers and engagement? Ironically, after when Elon Musk says that he wants to buy Twitter, like, weird, right? Everybody, right. If you're in this space, you understand that everyone's like thinking, oh, it's just bots, that's what it is. It's blah blah. So like, there's something fishy going on. People gotta understand. There's something fishy, that does tie into political voting, which was a huge headline for a long time during the political campaign, the presidential campaign. We won't get into that, but it was just, it's fishy.
Yeah, it's not just coincidence.
Yeah, exactly. The squeaky wheel gets the grease, and whether Elon Musk is in it to win it, and he's for the people, it doesn't matter at this point. It's very obvious that something needs to change. And what screams at me every single time, and I just smile, really, I just smile with a nice grin at the end of the day when I hear these stories, because it always resorts back to, we just need decentralization. We just need a blockchain type technology to just come in and just help us organize our lives, help us be the true voices that we all have, because I don't think people have true voices nowadays in the traditional world.
Exactly.
Help us keep people honest.
Like it's an amazing world that we live in, but traditionally, I feel like they say we have a megaphone, but the megaphone is off, right? To where, now that we have Twitter, where we can voice our opinion in social media, but we're still getting filtered and we have no control over that. So it's the same thing. It's just now it's digital. So, now we're graduating out of that and realizing that we don't have to have that type of situation anymore. We can have voting. We can have raw, true, real, transparent voting. People can have a voice. People can do what you guys are doing by creating beautiful projects and play to earn Web3. I mean, it's just, you know, it's an exciting world. And I wish people, I want to just shake people. I want to shake everybody in my screens, like wake the hell up, man. Yeah, like get like God, you know, I want to like go on like these CNBC, NBC, all these like these big platforms, and I just want to I want to be the streaker, right? But not in the sense of being naked. I want to be the guy who's just running through with like Bitcoin blockchain sign and be like, stop being
Bitcoin.
yeah, like you know, the same guy who says repent on the corner of like LA, you know, somewhere, and he says repent, Jesus Christ, you know, like I want to be that guy, but I don't want to be that guy at the same time. But like we all know,
Go behind Janet Yellen, buy Bitcoin. You know, that
right,
was
exactly.
a good one.
Oh, that was a good one. That was a good one. No, I love this world. It's a beautiful world. It's a crazy world that we're in. Twitter is probably at the forefront of it. And as long as we get some freedom to it, that's the best part about it. Right.
Like you said, not talking politics, but just financial wise. Every time there's a big movement, recession wise or not, it's more of a consolidation of power to the different class in society. It gets more drastic, or the difference gets more drastic every time there's some kind of shakeup toward 2008, 2020, you know. So even LA right now, you can see not a lot of people are happy. There's so many people that that works 3 jobs. They're barely getting by. This was never happened before, like 10 years ago. You know, you can be a lumberjack and you still, you know, you're living, your expenses are covered. You know, you don't have to work 2 other jobs. The same thing. So even for boomers to us, they're holding most of the wealth in the world compared to our age group. You know, so we were just thinking, you know, by the time Gen Z raises up, they probably will have nothing. It'll be so hard for them to build assets when they're working or anything else. Just like the financial conference that was happening a couple of years ago, the World Leader Summit, whatever, and they had a tweet. They're saying by 2035, they will own nothing and they will be happy, which is definitely not the case. It shouldn't be the case that way.
Right. I don't think anybody would be happy about not owning anything.
Right, exactly. But you know, so that we were just doing our part, just like many other platforms, many other startup, many other founders in the field. We believe that the trend of the society shouldn't go where it's hinting to be. We believe that, you know, users and the communities are the backbone for any success story, and they should be rewarded accordingly. So everybody should be, if they're part of a company or a platform that's successful, the users and the community should also be compensated and be represented in a certain way.
Right.
And compared to before, you know, companies use communities as their cash cow. But now all the competitors or any blockchain developers or any other platforms right now, everybody's moving to the same direction. They're building communities to make sure that everybody in part of their community gets rewarded and also be a part of something. That's great. So that's what we're trying to do, and I respect everybody in this field, and that's what we're trying to be towards. You know, be like the many other success stories. We just want to change the society, leave our footprint onto the world for the better.
Right.
Change the way people think.
Yeah, we have to work together. Like it's a human, it's for us humans. And even, I mean, you gotta look at it from a species standpoint, right? Like other species help each other out. Some species help other species out sometimes, but like we have to help each other out. That's the only way. You know, people can be isolated in the mountains somewhere and live off their own land, but you need help, right? You need electricity. You need certain things. Like you need help. Not everybody can live on their own. I mean, if they did, they would. But at the end of the day, you still need someone else. You still need someone to make furniture. You still need someone to do food. Like there's just things that people need and people need to rely on. And you know, and we want to speed up to the virtual world. Like, you know, if you want to help someone's channel out, you got to follow them, you know, and like their stuff, but at least follow, right? And imagine if everybody followed each other.
Right.
You're supporting each other, right? So like, you know, there has to be a win-win instead of like a win and nothing else happens situation, or nothing else happens and someone else wins. So, you know, it's a world where we have to come together and, you know, what you guys are doing is such a beautiful thing. You guys are building a beautiful community. I see your guys' Discord and followers really growing. You guys are doing such a good job, meticulously trying and doing your best explaining this crazy world, Web3, blockchain, real estate, tokenization, play to earn. It's such a mouthful when you're, I mean, if you're brand new at this and you're watching this podcast and you're probably like just completely lost at this point, it takes time. We've all been there. We've all done that. Everybody in this video podcast has been there, trying to understand it. But once you get to that aha kind of spine tingling moment, if you ever get to that point, you'll never look back. I mean, it really is something to be a part of. PlayEstates, Will and Mark, they're doing their best over here to really bring that world to the everyday average Joe, and really bring community together, utilize the blockchain correctly. Guys, it's been a blast, right? I mean,
absolutely.
It's good conversations. Like I said, I'm not lying. I really love your project. I'm also, you know, pretty active on your Discord. And you know, I'm trying to feed off this free whitelist stuff. I'm trying to grab something, man. Trying to get involved.
Hey, you helped us a lot. Part of the growth is from you guys. So
Exactly.
it's mutually
right.
It's mutually appreciated.
We try, man. We try.
You know, join the Discord, you know, be active in the community. You know, we're trying to grow the community and be there and game together and have fun together and, you know, get everyone educated through our launch. You know, there's plenty of opportunities to, you know, earn XP on our Discord server for giveaways that we're going to be doing in the future. So just make sure you come along. You'll see the link on our Twitter. Join us, say hi. And just check it out. You know, that's what community is all about.
Right.
Or just come be friends.
Yeah, just come hang. Listen, go join the Discord, learn about what they're doing. It's worth it. If you're interested in real estate or just play to earn or both, you know, join them, see what it's all about over there. It's definitely worth your time. It's Saturday, so I don't want to take up any more of your guys' time. Will and Mark, you guys are the best. Thank you very much for joining me on the podcast. It's been a pleasure. I definitely anticipate us talking more in the future. We're definitely going to hit up Twitter Spaces. I think that's the next best thing to do in our reality. Got the open conversation sense of it. The podcast is officially over. You know, I mean, the rest of it's just all bloopers and stuff. So you guys can relax if you guys haven't already. But yeah, Twitter Spaces to me is going to be the way to go. Podcast is fun. Right? Yeah. Oh yeah. Like
I can vape now.
Dude, we vape all day.
I don't care.
This guy don't care. I'm like, I like this guy.
Right? I'm like, I want to be, I don't want to be like Joe Rogan, but I don't mind having the podcast like Joe Rogan where people smoke, drink, whatever you want to do. It's a very low key type of thing. I want the podcast to be real. I don't want it to be like makeshift.
We want it to be ourselves. Because we're trying to be just be yourself on something, we're going to lose people.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah. Be ourselves.
Yeah. It's funny how humans work. Like even in video, it doesn't matter whether you're in person or in video, you can just tell if someone's being genuine or not. And you don't have to be smart at all to figure that out. I mean,
right.
You know,
that's why I like about the spaces and these podcasts, you know, because like in the 2019 through 2021, you know, we're just throwing darts at these projects. We have no idea who these people are, you know what I mean? I had no problem throwing darts at the projects, but now I do. Now the space is matured. You need to show your face and you need to talk and, you know, actually give us some details now. You know what I mean? So that's where we're at.
The biggest thing that I hear a lot was people being doxxed. Like that's the past couple of months, everyone needs to be doxxed. The team needs to be doxxed. I'm like, Jesus, like I get it. You should have been already doing your research before that. They don't need to claim that they're doxxed. It's just like they should just be doing it anyway. Because some people, like artists, want to be anonymous. As long as you know their artwork is real and they're on the right platform, you know, really shouldn't be a problem as long as you do your own research. So it is what it is. Yeah. To how much more time do I have with you guys? I don't want to take up too much time.
Doesn't matter.
We're good. We got time.
Doesn't matter because I got a few minutes. I wanted to ask. I wanted to have you guys ask any questions you guys had about Manaflow or specifically about the Twitter Spaces or anything you guys have in mind in general.
When do you plan to get started with the Twitter Spaces? That's
is
pretty much the only question. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
are you doing a show, like you're gonna have like a show weekly and you're gonna have guests, or are you specifically wanting to do this Twitter Spaces with us?
So this is how it's going to work for the foreseeable future. Um, it's all at the pace of, well, Manaflow and myself and or both are going to host or basically co-host whatever projects that want to be in a Twitter space, right?
Mhm, mhm.
The way I'm looking at it right now is we have the influencer marketing tools behind us, obviously, that we can either have the client pay an extra 5,000 or whatever they want inside of their budget, like a small portion of it to go towards their Twitter space, like going live soon type of promo,
Promotion.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that goes a long way. I mean, you can get a free retweet here now and again, which will draw on people. But I think the real way is if you market a Twitter space and then finally do it, especially to your own Discord, you could, one thing I didn't explain to you guys before is that if we promote, I would probably do it like a 24 to 48 hour heads up, promo. I wouldn't do like in a week, we're going to do a Twitter spaces. People
Right.
just forget.
Don't
Like you
forget.
do like within a 24 hour, 48 hour or whatever, you tell people in your own Discord, and then obviously new people in the audiences from the other influencers. Hey, we're doing Twitter spaces with PlayEstates, Mark and the crew, and they're going to be there for an hour plus, all audio, and they're going to explain to you guys, the tokenomics, how they work, what they do, how does play to earn work, just more in-depth understanding. And this is where I see other projects in the space get a lot more headway, not only with their followers, but it's clarification and more detailed understanding of how the project actually works, because you're getting it firsthand from you guys, not from a third party, not from an influencer who's making a video for you guys and he's saying, yeah, they seem great, blah blah, do this, do that. But that's sure, they're drawing in people, but those people are not doing their own research, right? We know that.
Right.
We want them to, but they're not. They're just relying on these influencers with these billions of followers or these hundreds of followers, whatever. Twitter Spaces to us is going to be, or to me and to the people that work with the podcast team and everything else, the more collaboration we get across the board, the better for everybody, because besides leaving Manaflow out of the picture with our own branding, with the client's branding, it's more important for me and myself and Manaflow to promote you guys, because you guys are the face of Web3, right? You guys are the project. You guys are changing the face of this stuff. And we're just trying to bring the people in the audience in front of you so you guys can have the best shot of making it the way you guys want to make it. And there's no better way to do it than to have a big audience live with you guys talking about it, you guys being yourselves, laughing, going on tangents, coming back. It's just like this podcast, obviously with no video, but
Right.
in more detail and more tangents, like just have fun with it.
Yeah.
People got to hear voices. People got to see and hear what's going on. And a strong element behind that is, when we're moderating the Twitter spaces, we can bring up, we can shut up 99% of everybody and only have like 3 people talk or 5 people talk, in conversation. But then when we do some sort of Q&A sesh, or like every once in a while, we'll chime in, say, hey, let's do a question. We'll bring up 1 or 2 people and they're going to have legitimate questions that hundreds of other people are probably going to have the same question. And that's your chance to really clarify what's going on. You guys can do, self-surveying where like if the same question's repeated, like, well, that's something that you might have to cater to is, okay, I might have to figure out how to explain that better, And I touched on this before. Yeah. And I touched on this before about how we already have, I've already reached out to some big heads in the space that dabbled in Twitter spaces, but they're not in it as much as they should be, even though they tell me all the time, like, yeah, we're not in it, but we need to be in it, especially from the crypto and the Web3 world. When you bring in other followers, their followers see what that person's doing. So they're just naturally going to be like, oh, what's this? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's just people pour in. The numbers wise, it's going to be really exciting for us to do. The only thing I would tell you guys is, for you guys, I'm assuming the podcast is probably getting your feet wet with explaining it,
Right.
on camera and everything else. You guys did obviously a fantastic job. I mean, as long as you act normal and just talk normally, there's no good or bad. It's just, this is a simple conversation at the end of the day.
Right.
And it's the same thing with Twitter Spaces, but it's not a podcast where it's edited and submitted a couple of days later. It's live, and people want that. I mean, this is the podcast in a sense is more just for entertainment, and then obviously we can use it for marketing purposes on each other's end. But Twitter Spaces, not Twitter, anything live is just much more. It's juicier. It's much more intuitive. It's much more. You get clarity and you get to hear the person's voice, and I don't know. There's an endless amount of things that you can probably think of that's a benefit of it. But at the end of the day, it's whenever you guys are ready. Yeah,
on
right.
the Twitter Space, you just throw it up and everyone sees it, and people can click on it and interact with it.
People join. Right. It's so easy. Like you go on your app right now or on the browser, and you see Spaces somewhere on your phone. Like they have a Twitter Spaces thing right on the app on the very bottom. It says Spaces. You click on it and it says who's live right now, and most of the time it always goes algorithmically by who's following the video the most, or not the video, the space the most. If we get over 1,000 followers, you're going to be at the top of the list, and people are just going to start pouring in. People are like, what's this? What's going on? So
well, maybe we'll do one next weekend.
It's good. And okay, so the frequency of it is completely up to you guys. It's only recommended to do it once a week for your sake.
Yeah.
Not for ours. We don't care. It doesn't matter. It's infrequent, right? Because when Manaflow is utilizing our influence for marketing and marketing in general, we're just co-hosting at this point, and we're just bringing in as much traffic as possible, which is helping all of us out. So, whenever you guys are ready, and whenever you guys want to just sit down and have like a nice, roundtable discussion, you guys can. I'm assuming you guys have this probably. I recommend, since it's audio, having like a good mic. Or two, and then have about everybody in the same room and everything else, or wherever you guys want to do it. And then we'll go from there. So if we want to schedule it next week, that sounds great. You guys will see the benefits.
Night.
You want to do Friday night?
Yeah, Friday night.
You got Friday?
Yeah, because we're finalizing our documents, or I am at least. It'll be a good test run, and then I can just be honest, tell them that what I have, what I don't have. And I can, like you said, accumulate some questions, and then start working on the stuff that they care about. So by the next time, we'll have something more concrete. So I mean, in my opinion, I feel like as long as we show growth and it's positive, we're making progress. It's no bad live AMAs or anything.
Yeah. Imagine if you make sure your Discord members know, hey, once a week, we are going to give you guys a PlayEstates update live.
Yeah.
Right. Phase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, roadmap, whatever. But we're going to give you a weekly update of how things are going. We don't just want to post it on our Discord so you guys can read about it. Hear it from us, hear it from our voice. Let us know what you guys have. If you guys have any questions, let us know. Hey, if you guys have any ideas, shoot it to us, blah, blah. But the other Twitter Spaces that I do research on, it's improvement everywhere, following improvement. You'll learn something about your crowd that you may not even thought about before, and it may just bring something up. So
perfect.
Yeah, and you can attach those. You can record those audio conversations, whether if they're 45 minutes or 2 hours long, and just throw them in your Discord as your weekly episode live. So like if people jump in and they didn't see the live podcast or the live space, they can go back and say, hey, if you weren't there for week 1, hey, go on and listen to it. And if you guys are interested, I mean, that's just really good research in itself.
Right on. So, let's do one this Friday.
Yeah.
This Friday
so Friday afternoon, I'm fair. Whatever you guys want, I'm fair game. I know you guys are a different time zone, but it doesn't matter to me.
Because we are trying to bring in the consideration of letting our Discord members know.
Yes.
So they are Southeast Asia. So the earliest they wake up, assuming 8 o'clock, that's our 5 p.m.
Gotcha.
So maybe let's do 9:30 your time p.m. if you're available. If not, let's do Saturday morning. because Friday night, our time, your time, like 9:30, that will be their Saturday morning, 9:30 a.m.
Right.
And then we also
Right.
do have
Yeah.
some US people in our Discord too. So that would also still be in a good range for them as well. It'll be
Whatever
a good
you
all
guys-
around range.
Whatever you guys think your community is the most active is when I would think it would be the best time.
Yeah, we see around 6, after 5, 6, people start talking, saying good morning, good night,
It's like-
or good morning.
So
in Discord.
everyone's getting done with work generally, and everyone's
Or
just
no,
getting
when
on
they wake
Discord.
up. That's when they
Oh,
wake
I'm sorry,
up.
when they're waking up. Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Man, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So this
9:30?
week, this week you want to do 9:30.
Yeah, we'll just set up for
Alright.
now unless something changes. So
Yep,
we can, at least we
tentative.
can allocate it out.
So you're 9:30 a.m.
Your 9:30.
You're 9:30.
My 9:30. Okay, I'm just
Eastern,
double checking.
Eastern.
All right, so my 9:30 on Friday. I will set the date. I will shoot you guys over the link. We'll get it all set up. There's really nothing to it. It's just you guys just make sure you have some decent audio. Unless everybody can be on. I recommend a phone because you don't need a video. You don't need a webcam. I don't recommend audio from the webcam. You can literally just use your phone. It's probably the best way to just connect your phone to a Bluetooth headset and just talk from it.
Sounds good.
Because this is a Twitter space, right?
It's
Yeah.
Twitter
I don't even
Spaces.
think you can use. I don't even think you can talk on the computer yet. Can you?
Well, I mean, if you have a mic connected in there. Actually, you know what? You may
yeah,
be
it's
right.
only
I didn't look
only
into
the
that.
mobile right now.
I think it
You
is
can
mobile.
Participate and listen on the PC, but
Yes.
you can't talk because I have a badass
right.
mic.
I
And I
think
always
you're
want
right,
to
yeah.
use it, but I have to use my
Yeah.
stupid phone.
Well, hopefully they figure that out soon. So yeah, use your phone, use your headset. Phones have the best audio nowadays anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I can't wait. It's not going to be. Well, we'll go further into details later in the week. So I know it's Saturday. I'll let you guys go. 9:30 Friday. I'll post it up scheduled wise, and we'll get that started. We will talk about during the week if you guys want to submit, some money towards posting the 24-hour live thing on our end, and then you guys can obviously do what you guys need to do on your Discord end.
Yeah.
And we'll go from there.
Right on. Thank
Awesome.
you for your time, man.
Will and
All right.
Mark, thank you guys for your time. You guys have been great. I love
Thank
the
you.
project.
Appreciate it.
I'll see you guys and talk to you guys during the week.
Yeah.
Sounds
Big
good.
up,
Thank
LJ.
you.
Much respect.
Bye-bye.
See you guys. Bye.